Hi guys, this is Lauren. Welcome back to another video. I'm really excited to share with you today some ideas and tips for finding inspiration for your art and creative projects when you feel like uninspired or like you have art block or you just don't know what to draw, which happens to everyone at some point, at some time. So I really hope this video will inspire you. I used these tips and ideas to draw these 8 pictures over here. So let's get into the video. First of all, let's get over the biggest hurdle of them all, which is remembering that your art is important. No matter what art you create, what you draw with, your art is important. You're literally creating a picture on a blank piece of paper where there was nothing before. Like, that is pretty amazing. So just keep that in mind always. Like, I've found this along my art journey too, is kind of struggling with remembering that I am creating things. I'm literally creating things that were never there before. So please, 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 on this journey, whenever you feel like you don't know what to draw, remember that your art is important. Even if it's just for you, even if you're creating it for other people, no matter who or what or why you're creating it, your art is important. Another tip I have is to take your sketchbook and go somewhere new, somewhere you've maybe never been before. A lot of the artwork from all of this video was inspired by going to places like the forest or the botanical gardens and sitting there looking around, seeing what I could see. And a lot of these times in nature really inspired me to get drawing. So this scene here was one that I created basically just based on sitting in the botanical garden. I didn't create this while I was there, but looking back, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to draw that picture. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like Studio Ghibli, and I just really was inspired. So that's another tip and suggestion for you. Another tip is to choose a theme to focus on. So I'm sure you can tell by a lot of the pictures in this video, I really love nature. So that's kind of like the theme that I chose to focus on, and that was what I was inspired by. But really, this can work for anything. You could, for example, if you really like music, you could be like, I'm going to focus on music and listen to all your favorite songs and just see what comes up, what creativity is inspired by that music, or films that you watch, or food that you eat. So I think choosing a theme can really help narrow down some ideas and inspiration on what exactly to draw. So the next tip is to be kind to yourself and allow for mistakes when you are creating art. For this particular project, I decided that I would use pencils, which is a medium that I'm not like totally comfortable with, but I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot and just make something, draw this flower that I saw at the botanical garden. And I started going, and along the process, I didn't really like how it was turning out. I was kind of frustrated. Kept having to sharpen the pencils all the time, and I didn't know where it was going, but I just kept going anyway. And I was like, this doesn't have to be perfect. I'm literally just excited to draw this flower, and I'm gonna give it a shot. So I just kept adding to it, kept experimenting with the pencils and layering and just seeing what they could do. And in the end, I kind of started to like what it was turning into. So I think a lot of the time it's just like not putting so much pressure on yourself. Just be a little bit free when you create your art. Don't always try to make something perfect, because art doesn't have to be perfect. It's basically just, art can be anything. So that's another tip, is just be kind to yourself. Allow for those mistakes, see where your art's going, and maybe you'll make something that you'll really like in the end. One of the most important tips is to remember to have fun while you are creating art. It should be a fun process. So my suggestion is to put on some music and just create, maybe even watch some movies. I saw this aloe at the botanical garden and I really wanted to draw it. I've never drawn an aloe before, so I was like, okay, that's something new. I'm gonna try it. And I was obviously a little bit nervous to start it, so I put on some music and I just had like the best time drawing it. I was dancing like crazy and just letting loose, and in the end I was just like having the best time, and I'm really happy with how this artwork turned out, and I credit it to kind of just letting loose and enjoying myself while I created. So that would be a definite suggestion for you. Another thing you can do is watch some movies. Those can be super inspiring, and maybe draw what you see, characters from the movie, or read a book and draw scenes and things that you're inspired to draw from the book. The final tip that I have for you for today is to really experiment using different art supplies and different art styles. It can help to kind of go out of your normal, everyday go-to art and kind of do something different for a change. This can just help you loosen up a bit, and you don't know what you'll create. You never know. It could be something really, really cool. So in this particular case, I was wanting to draw these hydrangeas that I saw in the botanical garden, and I'm using watercolor paint to do this, and it was just a really nice experience. I'm using kind of a variety of different palettes. They're not expensive art supplies. These are like some of the cheaper art supplies that you can find. And that's another point, is like, don't get caught up on not having the best of everything. You can really create art with anything you have and still make it look really cool. So you can see here that even though these colors are quite light, if you keep adding layers and layers of different colors to it, you can kind of get the desired effect that you want. So I really suggest kind of experimenting and adding different supplies and mediums, and that's kind of how it turned out in the end, which is pretty cool. Another thing I wanted to note is that you can make art using anything you have. So like 2 of the artworks I created in this video were made using the back of a cereal box. I just cut it up and created these 2 really cool pieces of paper and decided to draw on those. In another artwork, the one with the bee, I used markers to create it and really enjoyed that. So yeah, guys, that is all I have for this video. Really hope you feel inspired, and I hope that it has helped create some ideas for you to get going whenever you feel kind of blocked or have no inspiration. Thanks for joining me here, and I'll see you again soon.